Man, oh man, this is the first real leak for Modern Warfare 3, and it's substantial. We went from having absolutely zero conception of what to expect beyond the name of Modern Warfare 3, a narrative outlook, and some rough ideas for content at a top level, but the floodgates have opened and there's a lot to go over. So today, as we go along, drop your thoughts down below. What do you think of all of this? Is there anything in particular that really stands out to you? Whatever the case, drop it down below. If you enjoyed the video, you find it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing to stay up to date with all things Modern Warfare 3, especially as more and more ends up coming out here. If you guys are interested at all in staying up to date with all of it, I'd love to have you in the community. And finally, check out my friends over at G Fuel for 30% off your entire order with code Espresso on things like Hype Sauce, MS Melon, Hibiscus Tea Tubs, as well as starter packs, but more on that a little later. For now, let's jump into it. So, honestly, there's so much stuff that I almost don't even know where to start. I guess starting at the very beginning, a couple of days ago, the alpha for Modern Warfare 3, codename at least in the application side of things, Hailstrom, that was seen, but while you might initially anticipate that this is where this all came from, this seems to be a more direct leak rather than a data mine or some type of access to that. For reference, those things that are closed alphas like that are usually only accessible through whitelisted accounts, specifically created and curated for those. Like, for example, during Cold War and Vanguard's like COVID era stuff where the industry wasn't doing a lot of in-person stuff, but rather was doing remote work, our early review events for YouTubers like myself and other press out there like IGN and stuff like that, for the early access stuff about like a week before each of those games launched, we ended up having BNet accounts made specifically for that event as temp accounts that we could use, we could play campaign, get our early footage, and that was the only way to access those accounts. They were made specifically with the intent at a base level to be able to access specific areas that the public wasn't able to. But after that, those accounts were deactivated and we had to switch back to our primary personal accounts for the launch of the game and everything. That's kind of how I imagine this would be happening as well. So with it most likely being on console here, it's a lot harder to data mine that kind of stuff. So it seems like this is more direct. So coming from somebody who has access, or maybe even directly from someone who works in QA leaking this kind of stuff. So the leaking community has been abuzz. Absolutely. I'm not really sure who was the first accounts to really start posting about this. They all collaborate together. So it seems just initially credit to Bob Network UK, Task Force Leakers, COD Perseus, and if I miss any, I am terribly sorry. It's just been a whirlwind of trying to collect everything here. But now for you guys watching the video, fair warning, this is all radioactive. So I absolutely cannot post any of these images in video for you to check out on screen. I'm expecting a lot of this to be DMCA'd and some of, if not all the accounts posting this kind of stuff to be suspended or completely taken out, knowing Activision's track record with this kind of stuff. Links will be down there in the description below where applicable, but again, it's very possible links will get nuked. So if there's anything left, we'll leave it below. Anyways, let's jump into it. Firstly, before we get into literally anything in regards to weaponry and gear and all that kind of stuff we'll touch on in just a second, going back and editing this, since I made this commentary, DMCAs have started to go out, but the funny thing is that they unintentionally confirmed Modern Warfare 3. Like, they gave the reasoning for why a DMCA takedown was issued, and it says Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. So the name right there, granted, we kind of already assumed it. It looks like it's entirely confirmed at that point. Of course, not officially tweeted or announced by Call of Duty's Twitter or other socials, but I mean, for legal purposes to protect IP, that's the reasoning they gave. So it's legit. But talking about some gameplay related stuff that leaked, let's jump in firstly with some weapons. There's been a lot of weapons already leaked here for this. In what appears to be the rifle designation, we have the AK-556, the COG-58, the Anvil B, the MCW, the MTZ-556, and the Holger. For the SMGs, we have the Lock 9, which appeared to be the MP5, but more so with a seemingly placeholder icon for what looked like more of a UMP. There was the WSP-9, which was the Uzi, the SAR-9, the Striker 45, and the Rival 9, which was more so the CX-9. Then for what appeared to maybe be the battle rifles, we have the Bass B, the MTZ-762, which was the Scar H by comparison, the Sidewinder, and the TAC V. That's a little more important than we may think. We'll get to that in a second. Then we saw the snipers of the KV-B73, the KVS Terminus, the AMR-50, and a codename sniper that got cut off. We didn't see the name of that one. And finally, the sidearm of the Raffica. So what we learn out of this is that, one, there's going to be weapons that do come over and that we'll touch on a little further down the line in this video because of that mention of the TAC V. That was long rumored, but it now seems to be backed up with what actually is in the game. Beyond that, I want to touch on real quickly weapon levels and progression. So based off this, the max weapon levels were relatively in line with what we've seen in regards to Modern Warfare 2's leveling in Gunsmith. So think like low to mid 20s, upwards of low 30s for weapon levels, but hilariously, there was one sniper that was upwards of level 80. But if I'm a betting man, I'd say that's a placeholder because the entire weapon itself, its name was listed as a placeholder. It was Weapon Jupiter JP10 SN and the designation there. So it's all file allocation naming rather than a specific name and listing like we've seen it with every single gun ever. So this could indicate that some of, if not all of the earnable items are acquired the same way as this year, unlocking weapons through weapon progression and platform progression, unlocking camos perhaps the same way. So it's an interesting side note. I know that it's something that is kind of hit or miss with people. I was personally impartial on it, but I did like having things like specific attachments unlocked once you completed all that immediately for weapons as soon as you unlocked the sort of base ability to end up putting on certain attachments. Also, really did enjoy that camos were applicable to every single weapon once you unlocked them, but again, getting to those certain unlocks themselves initially was kind of a pain, so I understand both ways of that. But that's the weaponry you learned about, but we also learned about gear. How this works right now is interesting. There were rumors about the original plan for this, which might be a different story for a different day, but it seems like it was changed and now turned into this. But gear is going to be apparently how your perks work, or kind of. So they're a deviation and a change from the standard fashion of just straight up perk 1, 2, 3, and maybe 4. But in a cosmetic bound era, this kind of stuff, by tethering it to what we'll see in a second of helmets, boots, gloves, and vests, kind of surprised that we hadn't seen something like that beforehand. Not saying that's good or bad, but just I would have figured Activision would have capitalized on that long ago. But these again can be broken down into helmets, boots, vests, and gloves, with vests and gloves detailed further already, with vests including the Overkill vest, the Grenadier vest, Infantry vest, Scout vest, and Tactical vest, and gloves are the Tactical Combat gloves, Scavenger gloves, Marksman gloves, Assault gloves, and Specialist gloves. Now, according to in-game screenshots, it appears that these are going to be categorized slightly differently, so you'll have the ability to equip gloves, boots, and 2 gear slots. The way that makes me think is similar to your base perks maybe as gear, and your bonus perk and your ultimate perks as gloves and or boots. Perhaps more valuable ones pertaining to movement, ninjas rumored to be in the set of boots, and things like gloves for maybe fast hands could be a thing, where those would be in line with what our ultimate and base perks would be. Keeping the 4 perks from this year, but not tying them to any timed modifiers or any designated sets of them. 4 perks individually selectable and entirely disjointed as opposed to a package that we see now. Now, the one example that had actually been seen was the Gunner vest, also likely the Overkill vest. So not pertaining to the gloves or boots, but kind of playing into that base perk style for the gear, where according to this, the leak of the Gunner vest would allow you to have 2 primary weapons at the cost of a standard sidearm, and surprisingly, a lethal and tactical. So you get 2 weapons and can deploy with max ammo, but at that cost. But that was the only one that we saw detailed and explained a little further in depth. But if I were to take some guesses here, let's take a stab at a few of these. Firstly, boots. Again, none of these were detailed, but I'd imagine that there would be things like marathon and lightweight, maybe double time for that increased duration of tack sprint. Ninja is rumored to be there as a perk via boots. Maybe tracker or like an anti-tracker cold-blooded type of boot. Maybe a slide cancel type of boot for the memes. Maybe dexterity. Vests, there'd be overkill. I'm kind of imagining that being the same Gunner vest that we saw via a leak. Grenadier vest, maybe that's something that's like max ammo only maybe. Kind of seems counterintuitive though if Overkill does the same thing. An infantry vest, don't know what that one would be. A scout vest, maybe enemy nameplates are visible at a further distance, or perhaps something like spotter. Tactical vest, again, a little up in the air on that one. For gloves though, tactical combat gloves, maybe that's your dexterity type of glove instead. Scavenger gloves, you can pick up ammo off enemy players. Marksman gloves, maybe steadier aim. Assault gloves, maybe like strong arm here to throw things further. Specialist gloves, I'd love for that to be the return of specialist, though albeit if it is, it's an incredibly strange way to do it, but that's some of my guesses here for what those may turn out to be. Again, entirely speculative at that point. But beyond that, weapons and gear out of the way, we also learned about red dots being back on the minimap, which of course I think is an absolute win. I know some people don't care for it, but honestly, I like just the information that it gives players. Yes, it is available on the compass and stuff like that, but it helps to know if you're going in and out of enemy territory or something like that. And it's just something that, I mean, who doesn't want to chase kills, even if it does put you at a disadvantage in terms of positioning? Ultimately though, it just always seemed like one of those things that's just like, why was it changed in the first place? Like a change just for the sake of change made in Modern Warfare 2019 and Modern Warfare 2. So I'm happy to see that returning. One other thing in regards to gameplay that was revealed here is that War from COD World War II may very well be coming back to Modern Warfare 3. That was a really fun mode, honestly, I thought, but one of the more fun things was I again, just for the memes, kind of hope that a bomb's been planted on our ammo supply returns. I think that would be hilarious, even if it was just like a built-in thing that happened intentionally, not a bug again. It'd be kind of sad if the same bug came back twice like that. But again, just for the memes of it, I think it'd be hilarious. But anyways, that's what we learned here out of Modern Warfare 3 so far. The first, and honestly, a rather substantial leak for the first thing to come out. Now, there are a few things that are very important to note here. Firstly, yes, this is basically going to be a Modern Warfare 2.5. I think that that's something that we should all go in very level-headed with. If you don't like this game currently, it's very possible you will not like this next year of Call of Duty either in a Modern Warfare 3. Yes, it's quite possible that Sledgehammer can clean things up here, and I'm very much so hoping that they can in regards to things like ADS speeds, movement speeds, red dots on the minimap, fundamental things that Infinity Ward changed just for the sake of changing that can hopefully get the game back on track, and hopefully some good communication, post-launch support, and other things that go along with it. But I mean, fundamentally, a lot of what you see looks very much so like what we have right now, and it's because it seems like a lot of this stuff was probably going to be DLC to begin with. Maybe not necessarily from Sledgehammer, but the idea of continuing on a Modern Warfare game that we have now into the next upcoming year, that kind of DLC. So that's something to be aware of, that it's likely going to be a Modern Warfare 2.5. But anyways, beyond that, it also looks like we're going to see stuff transferring from Modern Warfare 2 to Modern Warfare 3. Again, coming back to that TAC-V that was listed in the game files here at that. What that means for the content of the game, I mean, it's definitely nice that players that ended up buying things or wanted to invest in whatever they end up grinding out, that can transfer and not be obsolete within a year's time at this point. Kind of like a mini window for what we saw with the Warzone 1 bubble, where everything was applicable and able to be used in Warzone 1, but it'll be the first time this is a mainline thing happening, where in the main primary game that's paid for, you'll be able to end up keeping that stuff year over year. So that's pretty cool in that sense, and in theory that should make the air quote day one offering the largest by comparison, because it's essentially 2 games played on day one in what hopefully is a new application. That's also something that's kind of up in the air. A lot of people think this is going to be literally just an add-on for Modern Warfare 2, but personally I don't think that's going to be the case, functionally speaking. Yes, it is possible that all of this could be dumped into Modern Warfare 2, but I mean, mentioned within these changes, you've already seen things like red dots on the minimap, entire changes to perk systems and how that all works. So yes, while red dots were something that was already seen in private matches and could be like a flip of a switch from an earlier build of the game, fundamentally, those other things, though, that shift to its core is something that I would imagine it still needs its own application or EXE. So I could be wrong, but I just also can't see them taking the Modern Warfare 2 app we have now and completely redoing it from a ground up to a specific degree. So I'm expecting this to be its own application, with that stuff from Modern Warfare 2 being ported into Modern Warfare 3, not vice versa. But anyways, I guess outside of that, the takeaways here for this are absolutely be cautious. I want to say be cautiously optimistic, just because I'm usually a positive person. I know this year might not have shown that, but usually I am. I want this game to be the Modern Warfare 2 game that we had hoped for this year, even if it is just something that we only get 1 year after that, with Modern Warfare 3 leading to COD 2024. But I mean, like, fingers crossed, man. Like, I hate to say it can't get worse, right? Because then at that point it will. I want to be optimistic again. I want to be happy playing the game and seeing it succeed. I want to see other people having a good time with it too. So fingers crossed, man. But we'll have to wait and see how it all breaks down. And finally, to the person leaking this stuff, man, hope you have a good lawyer. Like, thanks for the heads up on this kind of stuff, but best of luck to you. I think you're going to need it, knowing Activision's track record going after big leaks like this. So we'll see how it all breaks down, but right now, that's where we're at here at this substantial Modern Warfare 3 leak to start off everything we know about Modern Warfare 3. We're still probably about a month out from what I would guess is the reveal here of Modern Warfare 3 officially, so got a little bit of time still to play around with and kill, but for now, just wanted to keep you guys in the loop. Before we wrap everything up, make sure you check out my friends over at G Fuel, code Espresso. Get you upwards of 30% off your entire order of things like Hype Sauce tubs, Hibiscus Tea, and MS Melon tubs, as well as starter kits in the month of July. So if you guys would like to try something out for the very first time or grab a restock, now is as best a time as any. So use code Espresso, link down there in the description below if you guys are at all interested. But that said, that's where we're going to wrap the video up. So let me know your thoughts down below. Are you looking forward to any of these leaks? Do you like any of these fundamental changes that we see from Modern Warfare 2 to Modern Warfare 3? Are you happy that we'll see content transferring from Modern Warfare Warfare 2 to Modern Warfare 3. Whatever the case, drop your thoughts down below. But if you enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing to stay up to date with all things Modern Warfare 3 and everything going forward. It's getting to that time where we're going to start talking about the next game a lot. So if you're at all interested, I'd love to have in the community. But for now, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you later. Take care and peace.